Hey everyone, this is Meg with another not really last gen review, but I don't have the heart to call it retro, so I won't. And today I'm going to be talking about Mass Effect? No. Today I'm going to be talking about Advent Rising, a third-person science fiction shooter for the Xbox. A game of which the more I played, the more it started to feel like Mass Effect's long-lost cousin, which isn't a bad thing. Now, Advent Rising was originally supposed to be a trilogy. Look at the back of the game box, and it even says the official website is called adventtrilogy.com. And even though I wouldn't have minded another 2 installments, I say this with caution, due to its mixed reception, I doubt it will become a trilogy anytime soon. At the dawn of interstellar reasoning, as the first intelligent races took to the stars and began to interact with each other, they discovered a common thread, the legend of an ancient race that would one day deliver the universe. This race was known as the Humans. Protagonist Gideon Wyeth, the younger brother of famous Ethan Wyeth, has been living in Ethan's shadow for a while, which offers a nice little subplot, fun interactions, plenty of backstory, and an interesting protagonist. Supporting character Maren Steele is also well drawn. The voice actress brought a lot to the role, and that she is a highly decorated pilot feels very different. I can't really say the same for Gideon's girlfriend though, the Doctor. I forget her name. This brings me to the other characters in Advent Rising, the Aurelians. I want to say here that their respect of the human race, their fascination with what they consider to be the superior race, is quite an unusual angle for a storyline centered around war and aliens. Granted, the Seekers, aliens hell-bent on destroying the human race, are the complete opposite. However, I liked the focus on the Aurelians, their history, and intriguing viewpoints. The story was written by science fiction writer Orson Scott Card, and his talent manages to shine through the occasionally woody voice acting. And he defines each character and event with strength and ease. So, having said all of this, it's really quite frustrating how the basics are all there, yet you can feel the ideas struggling to win the battle against limitations of that time. For example, the writing is good, but the voice acting and character animations are so-so. The soundtrack is unbelievably epic, but the sound quality is dreadful. If Advent Rising were a movie, it would have blockbuster ambition on much less than a shoestring budget. Treat Advent Rising as a shoot-'em-up. It is the shooter equivalent of a hack-and-slash video game, which is pretty derivative considering other more inspired elements within the game. As Gideon, you will have access to up to 2 different weapons and learn an array of special powers. Throughout the game, you can change up the pairings in fights against different enemies and in varying environments. Some of my favourite combos were the Surge Power plus a weapon of choice, and/or Pulse and Levitate. You can increase mastery and power skills by using them as often as you can. Combat, i.e. utilising powers, shooting, aiming, etc., and targeting get manic, because enemy confrontations are manic. I found firing weapons unresponsive at times, and the auto-aim caused the camera to do full-on Exorcist twists, and that was if Gideon auto-aimed at all. Bottom line, you often lose control in the game because of auto-aim. This wouldn't be as much of an issue if the game didn't rely on horde-like enemy AI. In combat scenarios such as these, you need quick, responsive controls, and the mechanics of Advent Rising don't really achieve either. Use of powers wasn't without its problems either. Every time you want to use a power, you have to select it first, which in itself is not an issue, but when guns have an auto-select feature and the act of selection doesn't pause the action, it does feel a little lopsided. Also, why is it that buggies are so hard to drive in video games? Is there some kind of unwritten rule or something? I mean, movement in this game is hardly stellar elsewhere, but trust me when I say it gets much, much worse when you get inside that buggy. Overall, the basic elements are all there, but the execution feels frustrating, illogical, unuser-friendly, and the bugs equally take away from the play experience. And I feel like with a few revisions, the gameplay would have been much better, but it's like somebody fell asleep along the assembly line. Advent Rising's visual style really makes me think a lot of Titan AE, if anyone remembers that cartoon starring Matt Damon. And I think it was Drew Barrymore. It makes me think of Titan AE because the character models have all the qualities of a stylistic cartoon. Slightly elongated figures, bright colours and textures, exaggerated features. There is also a beautiful range of locations throughout the game. Some dark and futuristic, like enemy ships, some vibrant and unique, like exotic beaches and ancient structures home to alien histories. The visuals and environments are very impressive in scope. Seeing too, as the gameplay can get a little skirmishy, it helps to have these vast, open fighting arenas. But despite the wonderful aesthetics and vast spaces, environments can feel pretty empty, with little to do or explore. Advent Rising has scope, but few meaningful details or intimacy, which a character-driven game, in my opinion, needs. Ultimately, I think the quality of the visuals is quite disappointing. I mean, the game's not really that old, but it hasn't aged well. Just in judging the visuals, I assumed it was released in 2000, same time as Halo, only to find out later that it was released in 2005. Ouch. As a result, I would say this game would need a remake as opposed to a high-definition remaster if anyone ever considered reviving the series. Or series of one game? The soundtrack is exceptional, better than a lot of film scores out there, or on par at least with some of the best. Composed by Emanuele Fratiani, I hope I'm saying that right, and Michael Richard Plowman, with additional music and orchestrations performed by Laurie Robinson and Tommy Tallarico. I heard the soundtrack years before I knew of the game, thanks to iTunes, and it's what drew me to Advent Rising in the first place. It's grand, it's haunting, it's impacting, it's huge, and perfectly represents the larger-than-life story. It doesn't uniquely stand out per se, as it really is just a classic no-frills orchestral score. It doesn't utilise unique instruments or try to carve out its own style, instead opting for that Hollywood epic feel, which suits the story. Having finished the game, I still actually listen to the score from time to time, so I would recommend it to any of you who aren't really interested in Advent Rising in the slightest, but love orchestral scores. Highlight tracks would be the main theme, Glorious Human, and Greater Lights. There are a lot of bugs in the Xbox version. My game froze constantly, which ruined many what should have been impacting moments within the story, so take heed. And if you are interested in playing this game, I would opt for the PC version, which apparently suffers a lot less in this area. You can actually purchase the improved revision of Advent Rising on Steam for $5.99 the last time I checked, so a heads up there in case you're interested. I just wanted to note as well that there is a comic book series of Advent Rising, though I'm not sure how successful it's been, and I don't know how long running it is either. In my opinion, this game struggles in many different aspects. Without the bugs, Advent Rising could be quite the little gem, and if you are a fan of the Mass Effect series, there are things in the game that you will most likely enjoy. Still, I wouldn't say I walked away from this game with a particularly impressive experience, yet there most likely will be something in it for somebody out there who loves a strong narrative in video games. So that was my review. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for your patience. I will see you all in my next video. Don't know when it'll be, don't know what it'll be about, but hey ho, we like to live by the seat of our pants over here in this brick-walled apartment. Catch you later.